So, do we tell the party people today what's up?
I mean, you can. Like, they live in friggin' Brazil or something. Like, don't they care?
It's a pretty significant evolution in the party.
Is it? Oh, sure.
I mean, don't you think they would find it interesting?
We're moving to recording studios. From now on, we're going to be recording from inside the worship space in St. Anne's.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine? What's happening, party people? Welcome to Punchboard Party. My name is Daniel, this is Father Greg, and this is the best of the month video, where we talk about all the board games we played in the month of May this time, and then at the end of the video, we'll tell you what our favorite board game we played in the month is. Before we get started, I need to tell you that I'm going to have a new boss.
Yep.
Now, why does that matter to the party people?
It's me, I guess. God has a weird way of working things out.
God does have a weird way of working things out. So, we're fairly good friends.
That's right.
And you know what? It's ultimately a blessing, but it was weird to hear the news.
Right.
It was like, okay, so wait, what? My boss and my pastor now has heard me talk in ways that no other boss or pastor has heard me talk like.
That's right. Yes.
So it's a whole thing.
Sure.
But we're happy for it. I'm happy for it.
The Punchboard Party will be much more regular now.
Yes, well, that's true. I mean,
Theoretically.
we can't actually promise that.
Theoretically.
But there is much more of a probability that we'll be able to record kind of more when we'd like to.
That's right.
And theoretically, I mean, maybe a little more, just I could tell Sarah that I was working late.
Wow. This is going downhill fast.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. All right, party people, without any further ado, we're going to get started. But let us know in the comments down below what you've been playing in the month of May. We'd love to hear what's going on for you in the gaming hobby. And let us know what you think about what we've been playing. So,
Yeah, start us off, man.
I'm going to start us off. The Veil of Eternity.
Okay.
So this is kind of at the end of the previous month and bridged over into the beginning of this month, where we got to play it together. And then also I played it with Dave and his son, Noah.
Cool.
So Veil of Eternity, it is a quick playing tableau builder where you're essentially racing to 60 points. You kind of missed that. I got a little angry. So you either play for 10 rounds or until someone crosses the 60-point threshold.
10 rounds or 60 points.
That's right. But I told you that. And
yeah, sure you did.
And yet you still got it in your head that you still had 2 rounds left to go. And yeah, it didn't work out.
I just need to play one card. I would have won the game. It would have been a lot better.
Right. So the game has some really nifty, like it's your generic kind of combo tableau building game where you're essentially summoning creatures out in front of you, and they either have a one-time ability or at the end of the round effect or an ongoing ability. And you're just kind of trying to accumulate the most points, change the most things together, and it's really delightful and it works really well, but with some really fascinating limitations where you're collecting these tokens, these like gems that are the currency, but they come in like 1s, 3s, and 6s, and you can only ever have 4 of them in front of you.
Yes.
So you have this weird thing where you have to collect them in certain orders and spend them in certain to make sure that you're not going over that limit. And then you also have the limitation of whatever round it is, that's how many cards you can have in your area.
That's right.
And so that's neat, but really, like, this game fluctuates. Every time I play it, I'm like, oh yeah, like this is really strategic. Like, I went into a water strategy and really like kind of this creature gave me a 3, and then this creature turned that 3 into now it's worth 4, and then this creature I play it and it takes all of my tokens. It gives me points for what they're valued at.
Right.
And my tokens are all valued 1 more. And, But then there's also... No, wait, this game's just really tactical. It's just like whatever comes up. And, okay, I'll take this because it's going to give me points this turn. I'll take this because it's going to give me points this turn. And so it's just like game to game. how it's going to play out, whether things are going to chain well or whether the cards are shuffled in a way where you're just kind of going for the best thing at the time. But I really enjoy this game. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, he might have told me the rule that the game stopped at whatever points.
I definitely told you the rule.
But let's just say there was one round left, and I was like, okay, I got one card. This will be good. I got it all set up. And he's like, no, the game ends now. There are a few instances where I'm really angry, but that was one of them.
I mean, they're not so few.
No, it is a good game. Each color kind of combos with itself. So like you say, yeah, the blue gets you a 3, and then another blue card allows you to use a 3 coin or whatever. Yeah, each kind of lends itself towards a particular kind of strategy-ish. But yeah, it is an interesting kind of, I don't know what you call this, but yeah, kind of combo-y. You compare it to like Seasons, or something like that.
Yeah,
like,
it feels like Seasons. It feels a little bit like Magic the Gathering, except like not a card battler. Like you're just kind of you're engine building in a way, but again, the short play time makes it so that it's whatever it needs to be in that time frame, and it's delightful, I think.
Well, I went over to some kind of family friends, some friends of my dad, and so we went but they enjoy playing some games. They enjoy playing board games, maybe lighter, fair board games. But so we had supper, and then they pulled out a game never played before called TAC. TAC.
Oh.
So this is
not
like
TAK?
No.
Oh.
So this is
so they were just like tick and toe, get the hell out of here.
That's right. This is like a German version of the game Sorry, I think, or something like that.
Okay.
So it's like
am I going to be able to find this?
Possibly. So it's like you're moving around this circular board, and you're trying to get back to kind of your home area, so you can pop in to like your home, and once you guys are in home, they're safe, and once you get all 4 of your guys in like your home area, but then there's all these things where like yes, if you land on somebody, you send them back to their home. Okay. But you can also move backwards. Like you play cards from your hand, and each card you play kind of moves you forward or backwards. And there's some weird cards that like switch hands with another player, or like move you up to where the next player is, or like, and you're kind of working as a team. So you have an opponent that they've got their own pieces, but you're trying to assist them and help them out and stuff like that. An interesting game. I mean, it's a weird game, like and it's simple along the lines, like I say, of Sorry or whatever. Like you're just kind of going around a circle, trying to make people miserable.
Right.
There could be a fair bit of swearing in this one too. It's a game that can lend itself towards some pretty mean cards.
So you've been angry a couple of times.
That's right. But not bad.
Really?
I mean, not great, but not bad.
Sure. Okay, so this is one of my heavy hitters on the list. I really wanted to get this off of my shelf of shame, and there's been some debate as to whether I've actually accomplished doing that or not. So I texted up Dave, and I was like, hey, are we going to play games on Friday? Because lately we've been playing games more on Fridays. Do you think we can get Praga Caput Regni played? Because I picked up a copy of it. I want to get that played. So, yeah, sure, we can play that. And then on the day that we're about to play it, he texts me and says, Dan's bringing his copy. I'm like, okay, I didn't want to fight it. I didn't want to be rude or whatever. So I get there, and Father Dan has the game set up, and so we were kind of debating. Like, I did everything that I would have done to get my copy played,
right? Except
for we didn't actually play my copy.
That's fine.
So it's like, did that get off myself with shame or not?
Yeah. No, you don't even have to. You don't you have to play the game. You don't have to. It doesn't have to be your copy that gets played. Like, you have to play the game. It's just if you own a game and you've never played it before, that's embarrassing. But if you've played it, I don't care whose copy, even if it's on your shelf, but you played it 100 times with other people, that's fine.
That's a little bit of an unpopular opinion. There is a bit of a push, But for all intents and purposes,
they're all wrong. Simple.
So anyway, Praga Caput Regni played it a couple times this past month.
Cool.
Really enjoyed it. I would say this is a successor to your Stefan Feld style point salad game, where Vladimir Suchy really gets that concept, and maybe not perfects it, but pretty close. Like you get like all of the various aspects of this game really interlock really well. Where, yes, you're doing all sorts of different things, and it's all held together by an action wheel, right? So you have this action wheel, and you have these tiles on the action wheel. You draw a tile. You choose one of the two actions that are on that tile, and you're also going to get the bonus that's on the inside of the wheel. Easy. You're going to do that 16 times, and the game's going to be over. Now you're got like a central tile that you can upgrade with things so that when you do the certain actions, they might be a little better for you. You can build walls around that tile. And you can also build tiles like onto the map board, like into regions, and you'll get bonus points for where you build it. And then the different tiles and the walls that you build, when you build them next to each other, you'll start connecting symbols, and then those will give you shields and doors and all sorts of things.
And eggs! Don't forget about the eggs!
Can't forget about the eggs!
The eggs are...
And so it's like a thing where you do 16 actions, and yet you feel like you've done like 25 or 50.
That's right.
Like it's all just kind of... it all combos together and does all sorts of things. So what I was impressed with is I was able to, in my first playing a fairly heavy Euro game with two brothers who love heavy Euro games, and I was right in the middle of the pack.
Nice.
Right between Dave up here and Father Dan down there.
You're a great theme.
Lots of fun. I highly recommend this game. It is on the heavy side, like it's very crunchy, but it's another generous heavy game. It would be close to the family of Toletum.
Yeah.
Not as generous as Toletum, but it has that kind of... You're always able to do something. Like you're getting points for all sorts of things. And you can really... if this isn't going to work out this turn, then that's going to work out this turn. And everything kind of links together.
Well, then I was still at this family friend's house, and after we'd done playing TAC, I was like... I didn't come really prepared with lots of games, but I had Tiny Towns in my car. So I thought, well, maybe I'll try to teach them Tiny Towns. And they caught on reasonably well.
Okay.
The first teach of Tiny Towns is a little rough. I feel like
if you don't get
right.
You're like up a creek with no paddles.
That's right. By the end of it, they were like, okay, this is neat. But like halfway through, they're like, oh, this is going horribly. Yeah, it's not going great for you, but you know you'll be fine. That's a 9 is a respectable score for your first time playing.
That's right.
I have scored negative on this. Like
-3, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like that's decent. Don't worry about it. Don't be too hard on yourself.
That's right.
But yeah, Tiny Towns.
That's sweet. Sarah and I had a date night, and I brought upstairs Everdell.
Nice.
And we played a nice game of Everdell. You know what? Everdell has become a perennial for me, where it gets to the table once every 2-3 months, and not a whole lot of games get that kind of play. Like I have like spurts where I'll play a game, like 2, 3, 4 times in a row, and then it goes back on the shelf. Everdell's when I'm thinking about a game to play, and especially a game with Sarah, it just has everything that a gamer wants in a game, and it also is still strangely able to appeal to a demographic that likes a lighter game or doesn't want to really stress out their brain too much, but it still has all the stuff of building out your tableau, making sure you have your ongoing abilities so that when you do this, you're going to get another berry, get some extra resin maybe, get to build. So I took a different strategy. So normally I try and avoid the cards that get you victory points during the game. And I'm really just kind of getting victory points off the buildings that I'm building and the critters and, that kind of thing. But this time around, I kind of went like every time I scouted something that will give me victory points just right off the bat, I just sort of did that. So I was discarding cards and getting victory points for that because of this critter. And I was going over here and a bunch of points.
Nice.
It worked out. I went on my comfort zone and paid off.
Nice.
So yeah,
Sweet.
Lovely worker placement. Tableau building game. Probably, one of the best of the bunch, really.
I do like it. Yeah, it's great. We had our priest retreat this week, or this month, I should say. So we go away for a week, and during the day, we're supposed to be in silence. We can kind of talk and have fun in the evenings. It's good when all the priests get together. We like to socialize and stuff. But during the day, like, what are you going to do? I mean, you could pray, but, like, what else are you going to do? So
I get the feeling you didn't really maybe pray enough.
no, listen. Listen, there's a whole day. You got like 8 in the morning till supper time, you know? You got lots of time. So, you know what's great when you're silent? Solo board gaming. So I brought Concordia with the solo expansion.
Whoa, cool.
And just sat on a table, played Concordia. And every priest would walk by and they were like, what the hell is going on?
They'd be like, this guy should be praying more.
He's like, he's nuts. He's just like sitting at a table, moving things around. Like,
Yeah, that's right. If you don't know the hobby and you
That's
see
right.
someone playing a solo game, you would think they were certifiably insane.
that's right.
Yes.
He's just literally picking up.
Let me move my red bit over close to my green bit, and I'm gonna sail this blue bit over to this.
Right. Yeah. Anyways, the Concordia solo expansion is great. I understand why this game was made long before solo expansions were like a thing, or like solo. But the base solo expansion is very, very easy. You could have put this into the base game. Like it's a deck of whatever 9 cards and like a 2 dice, and that's it.
Okay.
But it's nice. It's got a nice thing where it's just like you play a card, but then depending upon what you do, your opponent is going to do something.
Okay.
So you sell your ship, your opponent is going to gain a card. You buy a card, your opponent's going to go and build a house somewhere. And then you roll a dice to like figure out, where he's going to run. There's some basic kind of things like he's going to choose the best resource in this area or whatever and prioritize this over that. But yeah, flows very easily. I played once I got it down, I was playing a solo game of this in like half an hour. Like it's pretty slick once you kind of get going at it. And yeah, great, nice solo experience.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so Pierce came over to play games. And guess what that little bugger did? He was like, hey, let's play. We didn't play test this at all. He's like determined to make sure that it gets onto this video. Every time. And again, I have yet to play a game of this that like lasts more than 2 rounds around the table. This game didn't even last to the 3rd person.
Wow.
Yeah.
What?
Pierce won the game. He said if he was wearing blue and it was his birthday this week or something, or like, and it was like his birthday the day before, he wins. Like it was like, okay, great. I hate this game so much.
I know you loved it.
It's brilliant. Like it is. It's this thing of like, it is the lowest common denominator game, and it's great for that. Like I never walk away from it being like that was like not entertaining. Like it's always entertaining,
Right.
but it's like I have no time for it, but it doesn't matter because it takes no time.
That's right.
So yeah.
I went over to Marion Dallas's house, and they have a little one who every once in a while wants to play games, and they bought her a new game, and so we're like, hey, why don't you play this game with Father Greg? And that's Pretty Clever Kids.
Okay, I saw this on the shelf and I was curious if I should pick it up. Is it worth it?
So it's interesting because that's so clever. So like you roll a bunch of dice, and then you take one of those dice, right? And usually you can use any of the dice. Sometimes they're not always the best dice, but like you could probably do something with any of them. Well, here you roll like a bunch of dice, but there's all these restrictions. And so you might roll there's like a kind of a track with like a bunch of balloons on it. So, okay, you roll a balloon, but you need to get a green balloon, and a red balloon was rolled. So you can't use that dice. And then you can do this action where you want to get like a cupcake, but you need 2 cupcakes, and only 1 dice came up with a cupcake. So you can't do that action. And you kind of like, when you choose an action, you take like all the dice of that group. So if I do like the gift action, I take all the gift dice and I like do a thing with that, and everyone else gets to choose from what's left over. But because you can't do half of the dice, like your choice is often very, very simple, because I can't do that, I can't do that, I guess I'm stuck with the gifts. But more often than not, you roll and you just can't do anything.
Okay.
And like, that's a weird choice for a kid's game. Because when you like roll,
I know how we can limit the choices. We can give them no choices.
That's right. Like when a kid rolls a bunch of dice and it's like, great, what can I do? Well, Father Greg took all the gifts, so you're left with one cupcake, which is useless, or a red balloon that you can't use.
Huh.
Oh. Okay. Well,
Because
I guess I'll do nothing.
Because then that's pretty clever. You're pretty much always doing something.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So it's like a weird movement. It's a fine game. I mean, oftentimes you're drafting because you want the thing that's best for you. But like there is an element where like I could realize like, oh yeah, you're not gonna be able to use any of that stuff.
Right.
For sure I'm taking these dice.
Yeah, sure.
Although usually the option
If you want to break a little kid's heart.
that's right. But usually like if you can do an action, the action that you should do is pretty clear.
Right.
So okay game, you know,
Yeah.
I would say it's
Weird.
Like, it's a weird game. Yeah.
Weird. Okay, so had Dallas over, Pierce over, and my buddy Connor over. And to kind of, after Pierce forced us to play a little game and we didn't play this at all, we played Far Away.
Oh, yep.
And Dallas actually liked this much better than the first time we played it. He kind of caught on.
Right.
And he had played it again at a church board game night too. But he said, this is growing on me, you know? And so he and I both got top scores. I think he might have eked out the win. I can't remember.
Okay.
But we were in like the 80s and 90s. The other players were not.
Right.
So this is really interesting in that I'm realizing that Far Away, while it is quite random because you only have a limited pool of cards to draft from each round and you're really kind of limited in the puzzle that you're trying to figure out. But it can be tough. Like if you don't draw or see in the draft or other players draft
Right.
the requirements that you need to fulfill the cards you played previously, they're just not going to do it. So it feels like it should be more luck dependent than it is. But over and over again, it seems like I'm able to try and win and get really close, if not win.
Yeah, I think so.
So this game is so good.
Right.
So
I did
good
enjoy
for me.
my first play of it. It was
Yeah.
it's up there with like weird or innovative games, kind
Yes.
of like games that if you really want something that does something a little new, you're like, what the hell?
And this is in and out too. Like it's just a really quick.
Yeah.
And you get this crunchy experience and the thrill of, oh, there it is. That's what I need.
Right. Next game that me and Marion Dallas played was Green Team Wins.
Okay.
This is like a party game,
Yeah.
kind of thing, where you're given a prompt, and sometimes they're different. Sometimes you have to like fill in the word, or sometimes it's like a multiple choice question or whatever. But you're given some kind of thing. What spice would you never like? What spice is the most important to you? Pepper, cumin, or
Chili
thyme?
powder.
Yeah, something like that. Whatever. Like so everyone like flips over a card at the same time as to what they write on their board what they think the answer is, and you want to be in the majority. You want to be on. You don't matter whether you're right or wrong. It's just like
Right.
you just want to be in agreement with everybody else, because if you're in agreement with everybody else, you get to be on the green team. And if you're already on the green team and you agreed with somebody else, then you get like 2 points instead of 1.
Okay.
And so it's just like a race to get is like to 15 points or whatever it is.
Okay.
But every time that you don't agree with someone, then you drop down to the brown team or the red team or whatever.
Okay.
And that's so you're just trying to
So it's a lot of double guessing. And all
you're just
that
trying to gauge, what is everyone gonna say, right? And sometimes, especially if you know the group, it could be very obvious, right? Like, and even if you disagree, right? Like you're like, well, I don't think that's the most important spice, but
But are they doing that at the same time though? Like
yeah, everyone's writing down at the same time and flipping.
so like if I know you really like pepper and you
Right.
know I really like salt,
right.
can we just end up swapping places?
I guess, or I could just decide to be truthful to myself and
Right.
damn you, even if even if I'm not the most popular, but obviously
Right.
that's not the way to win.
Right.
like,
Yeah, don't be true to yourself. That's actually
right.
good advice for life. People say be true to yourself to win at life. Well,
That's
they're
right.
a bunch of liars.
Just be with the majority. That's all. That's all that matters. But yeah, it's a fun party game. It
right.
is. Yeah.
That sounds fun. Stefan Feld's Marrakesh.
Wow.
Holy
Some big boys this month.
Toledo, man. This Dallas probably put it the best. He said, it seems like he just put a bunch of stuff together. and I think it's fun. And you know what? That pretty much sums it up. Like this is a point salad Euro game where you have a bunch of different areas on your player board. There's a few tracks, and then there's a bunch of spaces that you can add what they're called keshis, like these little tokens. And you add them to these different areas of the board. And basically they make that particular action more powerful. And then if you totally fill out that particular area of the board, either get to the top of that track or fill out that area with all these keshis, then you get an extra 10 points for each of those areas at the end of the game. So you're wanting to fill out a bunch of areas, but you're also wanting to focus on certain areas to make certain actions better. Throughout the game, you're going to be able to get keshis or get points up these tracks. But then 3 times in a game, I think no matter what, 3 times in a game, you're going to get the opportunity to activate that particular action. And either you're going to activate the action, like actually do the action at the power that you have it built up to, or you get to just increase it by 1 more power again. And so it's kind of fascinating how little you do each action. And the game forces you to do all the actions 3 times. So 3 times in a game, you take these keshis from behind your player screen and you choose which ones you're going to do that round. You put your kind of workers corresponding to those action spaces on your board. You combine all these keshis with the other player's keshis, and someone throws them into a cube tower. And then they come out, and a couple of them get stuck. Like, I mean, a couple of them. Like, 1 or 2 get stuck.
Okay.
It's like, what? Why are we using this cube tower? But whatever. And then they get organized into their groupings. And then on your turn, it goes around. You're drafting up to 2 keshis from the board. But you can only pick a single color each time. So either you're going to take 1 of a single color, or you could take 2 if there's more of that color grouped together. And then you're going to add those keshis to your board spaces to make those actions more powerful, or you're going to move up your tracks, or whatever the case may be. Then once the drafting's done, then you're going to activate the workers that you placed initially. And either you're going to do these actions and these actions are moving up this track, moving up that track, moving up this river space, which is just another track. Getting these end game scoring tiles, getting a bunch of dates, getting a bunch of water, being able to go to the market to get set collection kind of stuff or points for things. So again, it does all the right stuff in all the right ways, except it's a little weird.
Right.
Like, it's weird that I'm forced to do all the actions every round. Okay.
Right.
So, and I thought the cube tower thing was going to be the main event, but really the main event is the drafting. The drafting is what makes this game sing. So I really enjoyed it. The first play was a little bit of a hot mess. I really want to get this played again. Dave and Father Dan want to play this, so I think we'll get it played again. But yeah, it's a little unwieldy. It's a little unwieldy.
Now, this was part of the Stefan Feld reprint series?
Yes, well, but this is an original design.
Oh, okay.
So it's not Amerigo.
Okay.
It has a cube tower like Amerigo, but it's not Amerigo. Yeah, this is different.
Okay.
I don't think it's as good as Amerigo, but it's not bad.
Right.
It's definitely worth checking out.
Cool. I'd like to try it. Cool. The last time that we met, I said I played Mr. Jack, and there was some debate, as to whether or not it's unfair for Mr. Jack. He kind of frequently seems to get caught, and then we played it twice, and both times Mr. Jack won. So
yeah, well they got the new edition.
Yes,
I think they rebalanced it.
I don't think so. I mean, it's the exact same game. I don't.
Did they not do any tweaks to rebalance?
I can't figure out anything that they did unless they moved a sewer tile 1 space or something.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. Anyways, I think it was maybe just by chance.
Okay. Sure.
One time it was between 2 and they accused me and they just picked the wrong one. So it was, probably could have won, but just made the wrong choice or whatever. But yeah, I mean, so much for that theory.
Okay.
I think it's probably still easier for the detectives, but at least we had some good showings to balance it out.
So thanks to you, I finally got a gameplay that I knew I was going to love right since the beginning of me being in this hobby. And I got a copy of this used from Dave. Got it played with you. and I got played again a little later in the month, Shakespeare.
Oh, yes.
Oh, man. Shakespeare is as good as I thought it was going to be. Like, this is just a lovely... Like, it's a unique game. Like, it's really hard to explain. I can't just simply say, this is a worker placement game.
Right.
It is, but it's, like, not. Like, you're building a card tableau in front of you that kind of gives you your worker spaces. And then you bid at the beginning of a round of how many workers you're going to use for the round.
That's right.
The less that you bid, the greater chance earlier in turn order you're going to get. And turn order is supremely important because part of the game here is you're going to dress your actors with costumes and you're going to dress your set with decorations and things. And there's certain rules of how these score and work out the costumes work, that you add all the numbers together from the costumes once you've completed a costume, like 3 tokens on a character. And then the higher the number, you're going to get coins at first, and then you're going to get coin a point, and now you're going to get 3 points. So you want to get really fancy costume. But anyway, if you're first in turn order, then you can...
There's a limited supply, both of the costumes and the decorations. And so being able to be first, to be able to like take the really nice things out is an advantage for sure.
So I was like, why would I ever not just put my 5 tokens out? Yeah. There's going to be times where you're just like, I need to get into that decoration store first.
Especially when you get later cards, like you start out with a card that allows you to draft 4 points worth of costumes. But once you get a card that allows you to draft 8 or 9 points worth of costumes, that's big. Like then you really want to be first so you can capitalize on that.
And just mess with your opponents who now they don't have anything to draw from anymore.
That's right.
So yeah, really enjoyed this game. And again, a really low scoring game. A la Dune Imperium, and something about a low-scoring game. There's just a thrill in that, where like every point just
2
feels
points
like it matters.
Is like a big deal.
Just and it's no different than any other game where instead of it being 2 points is a big deal, it's 10 points is a big deal. But like it just feels different. There's just so much good about this game. It's just an old quirky classic, but not quirky in like an Imaginarium sort of way.
No.
Quirky in like a...
Quirky in a bland Euro sort of way.
That's right.
Well, I finally got a bunch of board games in. I had a big pre-order that had been on like the table forever.
Okay.
And finally it came in. So one of the games I got was Scholars of the South Tigris. No, I didn't. I know. No, I didn't play Scholars.
Okay,
but
sure.
I've been working Mary Dallas up to it. So, but then we played Paladins this time. Yes, we played Paladins of the West Kingdom.
Is Viscounts after Paladins then? Okay.
And so far it's going really great. Between Paladins and Viscounts are like Architects is a much simpler version than either Paladins or Viscounts. I think probably in that order. I think Viscounts is trickier. Like it's tough to figure out exactly what to do. Paladins maybe is a bit more straightforward, but it's a longer game. It's a bit more in depth,
and it's beefy. Like the decisions are heavy. It's a bit of a brain burnery situation because I can't remember exactly how it works, but you have these like columns, and you advance in one column, and it makes you advance in or not.
Yeah, essentially you have 3 attributes: faith, strength, and influence, or something like that. And so you'll go to one action that will require you to have influence, but it'll generate faith.
Yeah,
so it might require you to have like 3 influence, but if you have 3 influence, you can get a faith. Yes. But then the next action will require you to have faith, but it'll increase your military.
Yes, okay.
And then you increase your military, and that increases your faith. But you have like certain requirements that you have to meet in each of those things. Yes. So usually you tend to, I find, move up 2 tracks fairly high, and then have one that's kind of, you get a kind of a system where influence gives you faith gives you influence gives you faith gives you influence, and then your military is just kind of off to the side, and it's like you have like 3 of them at the end.
And you're getting overrun.
But yeah, it's a worker placement, but where the main actions take like 3 workers. Except one of the actions that you can take is to build a house, and then that covers up a worker spot. So now you only need to put 2 workers. Then you build another house, and now you can go there for only 1 worker. So that's really good. But is it worth the 8 coins and 2 workers they had to spend to build those houses? Yeah. Anyways, Paladins went over well.
All right. So Pierce was over again. Dan, I got a game we need to play. I was like, damn it, Pierce.
You didn't play test this at all?
No! You tricked me.
Oh.
It was Lords of Scotland.
What?
So this is a pretty delightful little card game.
Okay.
Where you have different tribes or clans, I guess. You have different clans. Mm-hmm. On your turn, you have a hand of cards, and you're either going to play a card face down or face up. If you play the card face up, then you get to do the clan ability. But if you play face down, you don't play the clan ability, but you kind of keep your opponents in the dark. And basically, and there's a card row in the middle that you can draft from as well. Mm-hmm. And basically what you're trying to do is throughout a round, you're trying to kind of collect a grouping of cards in front of you that is of the highest value. And if it is of the highest value, then there's a few cards that are set aside that they're all the same cards, like there's no different types of cards in the deck. But now these cards is if you are have the highest value, then you're going to get the highest value card. And you just put it off to the side as a little score pile. Mm-hmm. And so then by the end of the game, wherever has the most... Or no, you're racing to a certain number of points.
Right.
That's what you're doing. One of the cool things in the game is that if all of the cards in your area at the end of a round are the same clan, then you double your score.
Right.
So I was just doing that like crazy. And so this is between Father Matthew and
your score just keeps
Pierce. Doubling. No. Like you score for the round.
Okay.
So I doubled my score a few times. I kept on just doing the same clan members. And I kept on just playing face down so that people just didn't know what I was up to. So they were just playing how they were playing, and I was just playing how I was playing, and pretty good.
Cool.
Yeah, neat little game. Again, these little card games are kind of hard to get the meaning across without seeing how this plays out, but it was fun.
Nice. Then I played a game of Jaipur.
Oh, wow.
So just a little two-player version.
From the past?
Yeah, and I was like, I don't think I've ever talked about Jaipur on this channel, but why not?
That's right.
And, it's still good. I mean, it's not a great, it's not like the masterpiece of two-player games, but
it held its own for a long time.
It satisfies for what it does, man. It's like for a half hour, just simple game of set collecting, but you want to get you can only have so many cards in your hand, and so eventually you have to kind of cash in your sets unless you buy camels, because camels don't go in your hand, but you can hoard a bunch of camels, and then when 5 cards come up that you want, you can just spend 5 camels and get every single card in the market. But then now your opponent could just take a bunch of camels, and so there's this kind of ebb and flow of
the camels were always interesting.
Right,
yeah.
But yeah, great two-player game if you're looking for a light two-player experience.
Yeah.
Jaipur's a classic, it's been around for a long time.
100 years.
I think it's won the Spiel, I think.
Oh, I don't even know.
Maybe not, I don't know. Anyways, at one point it was at least nominated.
Right.
And well worth it.
So another date night with Sarah, and then the next night after that, played this game with you as well, so we can talk about this too. This is just a really delightful, quick card battler. Mind Bug.
Okay, yes.
So this was Mind Bug First Contact, the first kind of series or version of this game. And Mind Bug is kind of Richard Garfield with another team of people. And I guess, I don't know the story behind this game, but it feels like they were like, okay, let's try again at doing the most common denominator, base level Magic the Gathering clone that we can muster. This is perfect for me. I get so seduced by a new TCG or a new LCG because I want I want to be into a game like that. And they're always just a little too complicated. I thought Keyforge was it. Because what Keyforge did is it said, no deck building, you just buy a deck, you play with that deck out of the box against someone else who bought a deck, and you just go for it. But still, there's power counters and tokens and poison things that you're putting on stuff and whatever else. Mind Bug, they're just to hell with all that.
5 keywords.
5 keywords, and when a card goes up against another card, one wins and one loses. The one that wins stays, the one that loses goes away. And it's just fast and furious, ferocious, just back and forth. Really kind of crazy.
Yep.
Just like, I play this, and I'm going to attack you with this, well, I'm going to defend with this, and you can't actually defend with that because you're not sneaky, and I am, and so I get a point on your dial. So yeah, you have just a little power counter. You start at 3 strength, and you're just trying to get your opponent down to 0. The twist is the name of the game. Mind Bug. Each player has 2 Mind Bugs, and these Mind Bug cards is at any point, at any time. So on your turn, you either play a card into your kind of card row, or you attack your opponent and you choose what card you're attacking with, and then they can choose to block with one of their cards. If they don't, then you just deplete one of their strength. If they do, you can play the strength values of each card, and then one goes away and one stays and whatever else. But this Mind Bug, as soon as someone plays a card in their card row, you can say, I'm playing my Mind Bug, and you just flip over your Mind Bug, and you just take that card, and you play it as if it was your own. And so some cards have a play effect that you play the card and then it does a thing. If you Mind Bug their card, they don't do the play effect, but you do. And you just play that card and have that card as if it was yours to begin with. And then they get to have another turn right away. But you only have 2 Mind Bug. Oh, and this is where it just gets really sweet. Is that you have this super powerful ability to do twice in the game. And you kind of want to lure your opponent's Mind Bugs out and still keep the cards in your hand that you really want to be playing. And yeah, again, a game of this is 10-15 minutes. I had a blast.
Right.
It was so much fun.
It's really interesting. I think there are things that if you are a fan of the TCG, and I've played a lot of these types of games, there's a few things about Mind Bug that are going to be really weird to you. One is there's no mana cost on any cards.
That's right.
Like, you every card is theoretically at least equal to each other.
Yeah.
And that there's no like, oh, this is a good early game card, this is a good late game card. It's like, this is a 1 power card, this is a 9 power card, but the 1 power card does some good stuff. You know, it can kill off the 9 power card if it's poisonous, or it can deal you damage or something.
Basically, its strength is either really high or its ability is really good.
That's right. And so theoretically, yeah, you can play any card from your hand. So that's a little weird. Like a lot of games have like you have to build up a kind of mana or energy engine or something like that. The other thing is that you can only attack with 1 card. So even if you have 9 guys in front of you, you're only ever picking 1 guy to attack with. So the difference between having 1 guy and 5 guys is not that substantial. Whereas like in Magic the Gathering or something, you can like overpower your opponent and have 10 guys on the board and I attack with all of them. And it's like, oh God. Whereas here it's like, I attack with this 1 guy. Now you only got 3 health, so losing a health hurts. But there's a sense in that. The big thing is the Mind Bugs, which are so swingy. Like, you could take a game that you are downright losing, and 1 Mind Bug, and you are now winning by a long shot. So like, because yes, there are some cards are very situational. So you're like, you're waiting because this card, when you play it, you get to kill an opponent's card right away or something. And so you're waiting, you're holding it, like waiting until they play a card that fits the description of what it needs to activate. But then, like, when your opponent steals it from you and then subsequently destroys one of your cards, like, they not only get a powerful card and destroy one of yours, but you don't get to destroy the card that you want. Like, that changes the game by a long shot.
That's right.
That is great and the worst thing ever. Ever. Like, this game... I said I was mad when we were playing whatever game that was, Veil of Eternity. This game made me furious. But this was a kind of mad where I had to play it until I beat him.
Yeah,
like,
that's right.
As he beat me, I was like, again. We're doing it again. I'm sorry. And we're going to keep doing this again until I finally manage to beat you.
And it didn't take you long to beat me, right? Like, I think the swinginess in this game is really fun because I think that both players have the same opportunity to swing the game.
Yes, it's true. It's true. But it's like, yes, you might see a great opportunity to use a Mind Bug and be like, oh, yeah, that's good. Yeah. And then your opponent just uses one and it's like, that's way better. So, yeah, nice, quick, you're right, a very quick, very streamlined version of a card battler.
The swinginess is easily forgiven because of the length.
That's right. If you are someone who really likes, like, comboing lots of cards and stuff like that, this maybe is not the game for you. But if you just... either want an intro into that genre of game or you've played that genre of game a lot and you just want something nice and quick and
Yeah.
new, Mind Bugs are cool.
Yeah.
So yes, I have spoken about my fact that I don't often like Uwe Rosenberg games, but I do like some of his designs, and I've come a long way in appreciating and growing into some of those designs. But I still don't own any Uwe Rosenberg games aside from one. And this is a weird Uwe Rosenberg game if you only own one Uwe Rosenberg game to own, but that is New York Zoo.
Okay. Sure.
And so I went over to Father Santos's place, and and this is a game, I think because of Uwe Rosenberg's name on it, I never think of this as bringing, like, to somebody who's still pretty new to board games.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, you know, when you're looking at somebody who's pretty new and you see Uwe Rosenberg, it kind of goes into, like, the, nope.
Yeah,
That's
sure.
for another day. But this game is really easy to learn.
Yeah.
Like, I taught it to him, and he was like, oh, yeah, I got it.
Right.
And there's no points. It's a race to just, it's polyominoes, and you're just trying to finish you have to cover every square of your zoo. The first person to do that wins. That's it. That's it.
No, thank you. Oh,
Sorry. Yeah. You may not like this game. But
what a nightmare. You just described my living hell. You realize this?
when you get these polyominoes and you put these animals on them, and if you ever fill up a polyomino tile with animals, then they start multiplying. I mean, if you have two or more, they start multiplying. Once you fill them up, then you get to put like an attraction on, like so you can put down like a big roller coaster, and that takes up space, which is good because you're trying to fill up all your park. Or it gives you a tiny little restaurant, which is nice because it just like fills in that little that one little hole that you just can't quite seem to fill in. Right? I really actually appreciate this game. I forgot how easy and accessible this game is. The only thing that I don't like about it is it's fiddly. So you have these like little flamingo, and you got all these animals on your board, and you got to fit this flamingo into this little tiny square.
Yeah,
It's like
sure.
you need like tweezers to be like, because you don't want to like topple every other animal that's sitting on all of your other tiles. You're like, I got that one, and then you have to take all four of them off because you just finished you filled in polyominoes. So you take all the animals off. So okay, I'm taking all these animals out, but. A little fiddly, but other than that, yeah, it is a great.
It does sound neat. If not for my own just personal.
Yes, you might not be great at it,
but I would. Yeah, it just sounds really solid. Yeah. Okay, so another date night. Again, when it's my turn to plan what we do for date night, I usually bring up board games. Sarah loves it.
Marriage is strong as ever.
Hey, actually, having intentional date nights, it's a good thing. Sure, it's really good. So our church just had a garage sale. So every year we have Kids Care garage sale. Mm-hmm. And I think, you can verify, Ryan, but a party person, our friend Ryan, I think he donated a bunch of games to the garage sale.
Very generous of him.
So I didn't want to be a jerk because I got an early look at the games. Colin was like, board games! I was like, let me at them.
Right.
And so I took all the good ones.
So hold on. So let me be clear. I didn't want to be a jerk. So I looked at all the good games and I just took them off the shelf before anybody could ever even have a chance of getting near them.
But I paid way more for them than what they would have gotten at the garage sale. So Creature Comforts was in this pile. And so I pulled out Creature Comforts with Sarah. And you know what? This game is like almost good. Like,
okay.
Like I would say it's good. Like, but it's almost great. It's almost great. And the only thing that takes it away is that just the flow of play just necessitates that it takes forever. So basically, this is a worker placement game, and so you're going to different areas and you're collecting different resources, and then you're going to a place where you can collect cards that you'll craft different things with the resources that you collected and this kind of thing. But the way that the worker placement works is that they've accomplished a great thing in that they've put together a really nice worker placement game where there's no actual conflict. So simultaneously, we place our workers where we want them to go on the spaces on the board. And you and me, we can be on the same space.
Okay.
Doesn't matter.
Great.
And then we have our own personal 2 dice, and we roll those. And then an active player for the round rolls a bunch of other dice. And then this is where the game just like stretches out. Like an iOS version of this game or something would be perfect. We could just cut out just how long this process is. But then what you do is the spaces where you put your workers will require certain dice combinations in order to activate the spot. So then you put your 2 dice together with the dice that were rolled in the general pool, and you start placing those out to the different spaces, and you see if you can actually
do all the things
that you wanted to do, which is cool. Like, it's cool, but it just necessitates taking a while to do it. So that's the only thing that sucks. But the actual putting it together is cool. And then for every space that you weren't able to do, you'll get this plus minus token you can then augment dice with later. And so you're just going around, you're making soup, and you're furnishing your little burrow, and you're, it's just really cute and fun. And so really delightful game, but just takes a long time, and it gets a little bit tedious. It takes as long as it does. But everything you're doing and how you're doing it is great, and it's it's kids table board games or something where they really try and make a game that works well for kind of gamers and kids. And I think this does that. Like, I'm excited for my kids to be a little older to enjoy it. I think I would just have a set of dice for every player, and then just roll dice, and then you just set the dice to what was rolled. Right. And then just everybody does their stuff at the same time. Yeah, okay. I think that's the only thing I would change.
I was still at Father Santos' place, and I played Seven Wonders Duel.
Nice.
So nice. I just let's just play great 2-player games. Seven Wonders Duel does that. I love the 2 victory conditions, science and military, and one player goes for science, the other player goes for military. And at the end, you barely stave off defeat in either one of those options. Like, you end up just counting points. Right. But it's that kind of tug of war. I love that kind of initial experience. I think it was one of the first games I played that really had that, like, oh, you're so close to winning, but so am I. If I can get just the one right card to show up when that card's flipped, if that's a military card, you're dead. And then realizing, oh, nope. We both managed to stave off elimination just long enough for us to count points. And, Father Santos won. Did a great job.
Okay, great.
Had a great time with it.
So, a couple weekends ago, got Andor, the Fantasy Family game, back to the table.
Okay.
And played it with the boys. And this time, so we've done all of the sets of quests. And so now what you do is you just kind of pick your difficulty level, and you shuffle up the quests randomly, and you take that number of quests. So, the advanced game is 4 quests.
Okay.
And so you just put those out and you go for it. And so Owen read that, 4 quests is the advance. He's like, we're going to do 4 quests. It's like, okay, sure. But we did it.
Okay.
We accomplished all the quests. We found the pups in the cave. We won the game. And I really it's stupid how much I like this game because it's a kid's game. Right. Like, it really is. But it's just like, here, okay, I'm gonna spend my sun discs to move over to this well. I need somebody else to come over to this well with me because we need 2 people to clean it. Okay, who's gonna go over there close to Ethan and clean that well? Who cares? But something about having these tasks to accomplish and accomplishing them, it's just really lovely. We were getting pretty lucky on our dice rolls, but it was good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Mary and Dallas have a friend named Tom, and
yes.
Tom is...
I played with Tom. We're going to talk about playing with Tom.
Okay.
Tom came over here for the first time.
Wow.
Yes.
Cool. So Tom has this game that he's wanted to play for a while. So we've actually played this game twice this month.
Okay.
Probably should have mentioned it earlier, but it came up later because this is how my plays work. But so we played this game twice. That's a game called Vagrant Song.
Okay.
So Vagrant Song is a cool theme. It's like, I don't know, 1930s.
Like Ghost Train
kind of ghosts. Yeah, you're fighting ghosts. That's where the theme kind of falls apart. So you got this ghost. It's like a dungeon crawl, sort of, but you're not really crawling. You're not exploring the dungeon. It's just like, yeah, you're on a train car and there's a ghost and you're trying to fight him. But you punch him. But when you punch him, you give him humanity. So, like, he starts with 0, but you got to get him up to 14. So you give him humanity. So, like,
okay,
I don't know, punching him gives him... But, like, I sing it, like, my guy's a song guy. He's got, like, a guitar and a banjo. And so he, like, sings a tune, and that gives you humanity. So I'm like, well, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I just don't understand how the punching is... It's like...
Feel the zest for life!
Like, you're human. You can feel pain. Like... Here, punch you. Don't you feel that? You gained humanity. It's like, it's a weird, philosophical view of humanity.
Violence makes you more human.
That's right. You're human to the extent that you could feel pain. Something like that. I don't know.
Something to it, I guess.
Anyways, the idea is that you're just, if every map you have, like a boss you're trying to defeat, and every boss functions in a different way, and it's a campaign style game. It's not really a legacy game, but every session you kind of level up your characters and get new abilities and things like that. So yeah, we'll play it some more. Probably have many more things to say about it. So far, it's good. The theme is fun. It says on the back that it's like a story driven kind of thing. The story is, I don't know what story is there. Like you fight this ghost, but like then it'll be like. You open up, it's like, read, event 6, and it's like, the train shakes wildly. Everyone takes 1 damage. I'm like, is that the story? Okay. Sure. All right, I'm on a shaking train. So, maybe eventually we'll figure out why we're on this train. Right. I'm suspecting it's maybe like a Lost thing where we're all dead. Maybe we've all been ghosts the whole time. Sure. I don't know what's going on, but maybe over time we'll begin to figure out why we're on this train.
It sounds interesting. Looking forward to hearing. At this point, I have no idea what to picture in my head when you say these things, but I look forward to hearing more.
Right.
Okay, so one of the other games that was in this garage sale pile that I used to own and I got rid of, but now I got it back. Quest for El Dorado.
Nice.
And now, again, just the problem of playing games earlier in the hobby and you just, didn't grok it that one time. It made you feel bad, so you're okay getting rid of it. Man, Quest for El Dorado is such a great little deck builder. This game plays quick, and the deck building is pretty dynamic. It's a different. It adds some cool things to deck building that makes it pretty refreshing. So there's a lot of cards available that are one-time use.
Right.
So that's pretty fresh. Probably not now, but at the time, and pretty cool. Where it's I'll pay 5 coins for a card that I'll only ever use once. That's going to be worth it, and it is. You need these big kind of powerful cards to get you across certain areas, because basically you're racing your adventurers across a map, and there's all these different terrain types that require certain cards. And in order to go on a terrain hex, you need to play a card that exactly matches that terrain hex. So if it has 4 paddles on it, you need to play a card that gives you 4 paddles to get on.
And there aren't too many of those.
You can't add 4 1 paddles together. You gotta. But the neat thing is that there's a market, and there's a bunch of other cards that aren't in the market, and so you can only buy from the market. And then once there's a space available in the market, then you can buy from all the other cards. But then that determines what kind of card stack now moves into the market. Yeah. And so now that's restricted to the market again. Fun, push and pull, the race, you're pulling ahead. Oh yeah, catching up.
That's right.
And again, neat little things with the deck building where, again, you're going to play cards to travel across the map. Then you're going to, any remaining cards you can use to purchase new cards. And then you can also keep a card or 2 in your hand and then just draw up to 4. So you can kind of construct a little bit more your turns. It's not just spend everything, then draw new cards.
Right.
It's spend what you want and maybe hang on to that money so that you can have more spending power later on.
Yeah, I was shocked that it's been that long since I played this game, because I really like this game. For me, at least when I learned this, it was it wasn't that okay, I've learned Dominion, and wait, now this is a deck builder with a board, and you're moving on it? Oh, that's cool. Yes. Right? Nowadays we have Clank and a lot of other deck builders that do that, Dune or whatever. There's all kinds of games that do that. But at the time when this came out, it was wow, that was really cool. Yeah, and it still is. It's still a good game.
I church game night was tonight, and I had a group of people playing it, and they all loved it.
Nice. So. The last game I played was Clever Cubed. And,
come on!
This is the third.
Father Greg, you can do better than this. Is this how you're ending?
I know. Well, listen, it's not my fault.
Gosh, yes. When it's the end of the month, you start to think a little harder about what you're playing. Okay,
that's right. So yes, this is the 3rd version of the That's So Clever series. It's the worst of the 3. It's still fine, but it's no more than that.
Sure. So what makes you pull this out over the other ones?
Marion Dallas just pulled it out.
Oh man.
So, but I was happy to play it. I mean, it's not horrible. It's just it's very dependent upon like how the rolls happen and yeah.
Kind of like the kids version.
Yeah, kind of like the kids version. It's like every time they've made a new version of this game, it's gotten worse. So the first version was great.
You know what? I am warming up to the first version. Okay, last game I played in the month of May with Tom and with Tim. Tim and Tom eating a Tim Tam. Wonderland's War.
Oh.
Finally got Wonderland's War on the table. Okay. So this is so that Ryan, he had it on his kind of to-go pile, and he gave it to me. So thank you, Ryan. And did get to the table, and wow. Like, I was actually really impressed. Like, this game strikes me, just the visuals. It just reminds me of a Kickstarter game that tried too hard and will end up being really bad. It's just what it looks like to me.
Yep, that's fair.
And it's not that. This is, each round has 2 phases, and each of these phases is like, I want to play a whole game of that phase all the time. Each of them. I loved it. So the first phase of the round is the tea party. So you have the tea table, and there's cards all around the tea table. And so it's a kind of rondel, go as far as you want to go, but you can't go back sort of mechanism. When you round the bend, then you have to roll the madness die, and so you're risking getting more madness. And this is kind of a Quacks of Quedlinburg sort of situation, where you're collecting tokens and you're putting them in a bag. But when you roll the madness die, you're running the risk of having the most madness, and that'll make you put extra madness into your bag. Just drafting these cards is fascinating because you're going to be able to put powerful chips into your card, but maybe you'll be able to draw quest cards. And if you draw quest cards, and they're going to give you these specific... There's, on a quest card, there's an endgame objective, but then there's also a feat. And so the feat is, if you end a battle with a particular token type, then you complete the feat.
Right.
And so you don't have to necessarily win the battle, you just have to finish... You have to, like, stop pulling tokens out of the bag with that token at the end. Really fun that way. There's all sorts of stuff, so going around there. And then there's the whole battle. Like, it's not area control per se, because what you're doing when you're drafting those cards will often have a number of meeples. And so that's the number of your supporters that you can put out into the different battle regions. And so even though I knew the rules to the game when we played the first round, it still felt like I was playing an area control game where the more supporters I had in an area, I thought I was winning. So when we got like to the actual like playing out the battles, I was like, oh, I'm winning that one and I'm winning that one. No, wait, that's not how this works. Basically what you're doing is by putting supporters into regions, you're kind of setting up the number of lives you have in that battle. You're setting up the number of times that you can bust.
Right.
Before you actually bust. How many madness chips you can pull out of your bag. And that's really cool. You're like, I really want this region. And you get regions by winning them. You're going to get victory points and whatever else. And put your castles there. And man, again, another game that's a little slow just because it has to be. But this is better. You pull out you're in a battle. Everyone who's in that battle pulls out a chip from their bag. They all reveal it simultaneously. That's going to add to the strength. And then the chips like do different things. Like the flamingo in our game doubled the strength of the next chip you pulled out of the bag. You know, this kind of stuff. So there was a couple of battles that were just like heart attack out of a bag, man. Like just like we both had one supporter left, pulling out, just knowing that there's madness in that bag, but just like having to keep going. Fun game.
There's something about Push Your Luck that is just really fun.
Super fun.
Absolutely.
People keep on comparing this to Quacks of Quedlinburg and saying, but Quacks is better or whatever. Yes, it's obviously a derivation of Quacks, but it didn't feel like Quacks at all. It's like because of the fact that you were competing in these battles and because of the card drafting mechanism, I felt like this was its own thing. Yes, it had a large helping of Quacks of Quedlinburg, but it was its own thing. All right, there you have it, Prairie People. Those are all of the games that we played in the month of May. Whew. Do you think we're gonna play more games now that we're living in the same city?
I hope not. Otherwise, these videos are going to be 2 hours long.
Yeah, that's right. They're already an hour long. All right. So, party people, let us know what you liked of the games that we played, what you think about our plays. And before we get going, we're going to tell you what the best game we played this month is. All right. So, my best of the month, I think it's a hard one this month. It's a hard one. But this is going to Praga Caput Regni.
Wow. Okay.
For just, Dave's really big on he wants to play games 5 or plus times. And it's because there's just more to explore. More, you don't know a game until you played it 5 times, he says. I don't know about that. I think, whatever. But I do think that Praga still has a lot more to give me.
Right.
So that's what ekes it out of the win. But like Quest for El Dorado, Shakespeare, Wonderland's War, like they're all really honorable mentions here this month.
Yeah.
And I don't usually have that many honorable mentions for a month, but
Sure.
But Praga ekes out the win.
Yeah, sure. I'll say Paladins of the West Kingdom.
Okay,
I love
we're
Paladins.
going heavy Euro.
Yeah. But it's a great... We're really enjoying the series. I don't think there's been a game that we've played that has not worked.
Wait till you get to Wayfarers.
Yeah, Wayfarers
is gonna...
That's right. That's a whole other beast. We'll see.
All right, party people, there you go. If you like this video, please there you go, party people. Those are all the...
Put the oil in. Reset the button.
It's 1:15.
It's a 1:15.
I'm a little drunk and I need you now. So there you go, party people. If you liked the video, please press the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you aren't already. And until next time, party people.
Have the best day.
Yeah.